A sad day for women's rights. That's what activists are calling a ban by Poland's top court on abortions on the grounds of fetal defects. The ruling has incensed many. On Thursday, thousands across the country took to the streets. In the capital, riot police were out in force, using crowd control measures. Protesters denounced the governing Law and Justice Party, a long-time proponent of tougher abortion laws. It's also been accused of packing the Constitutional Court with loyalists. The ruling bans almost all abortions in Poland. Only last year, 98% of all terminations in the country were done because of severe fetal abnormalities, but that will now be outlawed. However, abortions due to rape, incest, or threat to the mother's life are still legal. Earlier, we put the issue up for debate.
Well, I think the thing with human rights in general, especially the right to life, is that they shouldn't be dependent on what other people think. Slavery back in the day used to be a democratic option that didn't make it morally justified, and the same goes for abortion.
Every child deserves to be a wanted child, and every mother deserves to be a willing mother. And as we see in countries like Poland, and as was recently for the same reasons in Northern Ireland, that we, on the one hand, hear these conservatives saying that they want to protect life, and on the other hand, they're the exact same governments and the exact same administrations that cut supports for disabled people, that cut supports for single mothers, that cut supports for special education services for people with those same disabilities.
Well, I would like to clarify that no one in the pro-life camp is wanting anyone to be an unwilling mother, right? Saying that you shouldn't have the right to abort your fetus is not the same thing as saying you must be a parent for the rest of your life. Adoption is always an option, and one that I strongly encourage if someone is finding themselves with an unplanned pregnancy and does not want to be a mother or is unprepared to be a mother. But to say that because the person who conceived you doesn't want to be a parent, therefore your right to life is forfeit, that is completely ridiculous. There are many, many children out there who grew up with parents that weren't the best and perhaps maybe didn't want them. I'm sure many of them would take issue with the idea that just because their parents weren't necessarily the most willing supporters of them, that they should have been aborted or that would have been all right to do. It's just something that's very ridiculous.
What this highlights is rank hypocrisy by the people who make the laws, because they're not preventing these abortions from happening. What they're saying is we're okay with these abortions as long as they happen in a different legislation. Do you know? They're not saying we disapprove of your abortions, we just disapprove of them and we'll hold our noses against you having them in this country. We will reject you as a citizen and make you travel to a different country, and then you're allowed back once it happens. It's completely ludicrous.
I'm sure that if the Polish government had implemented any measures to prevent women from traveling to different countries in order to get abortions, then these pro-choice advocates would be up in arms even further of the supposed restriction of these freedoms. You know, the international conversation about abortion is very interesting as well. Abortion is often touted as a woman's right, but we don't really hear pro-choice advocates talk about the issue of sex-selective abortion, right? There are countless numbers of female fetuses around the world who are at risk of being aborted on the basis of their biological sex. Where are the feminist protectors standing up for these fetuses? Our lives and their lives as women matter as well.
What we had in Northern Ireland when we made it illegal was people were arrested for having an abortion. So if you want to go and arrest every single woman in Poland or every single woman in America who's had an abortion, go ahead. But that will be 1/3 of the adult woman population, and nobody can support that.